friends, Joy the Hustler here. Welcome to a new week. I thought I'd share something a little different with you all this week. So, I was just thinking, I've been thinking for a while, thinking about you all, thinking about the job market, and just thinking about the various jobs that are out there for entry level positions without a degree, especially those remote jobs. So there don't seem to be that many. And the ones that are there are offering people anywhere between 15 and I would say $25 an hour. It seems to be the more common ones. And I also noticed that a lot of employers are reducing their rate. I mean, I'm seeing jobs out there now coming up for $15, $14 an hour. I mean, how are we in America going to survive on $15 an hour? So it begs the question, what do we do about this? We know this is not going to change overnight, but we can change ourselves. There are things we can do. How do we reposition ourselves so that we have more income coming in? Okay. So that's why I want to share with you 5 surprising remote opportunities, remote businesses that you can start today with less than $1,000. So while you're still looking for your job, you can still continue on that path, looking for remote jobs. And I have actually published some remote jobs for this week. If you subscribe to my newsletter, you already have those and you can start applying to those. If you haven't, visit the description box of this video. You'll see the link there to subscribe to the newsletter and you'll get those jobs for this week. But I want to share with you some remote businesses you can do right now that'll start bringing you money. Okay. So let's get right into it. So the very first one is family daycare. So just a little insight information here about myself. My mom used to run a daycare in the home. In fact, she used to run a daycare in my home, in my basement of the first home I ever bought when I was 27 years old. So I helped her start up the family daycare and everything, and she was making money. In fact, friends of mine who were already married and had kids would bring their kids over to my home. So I know a lot about family daycare, and a lot has changed between then and now. I'll say there's a higher demand, and it's definitely costlier. So one of the pros that you could just put in mind when you think about starting a family daycare is it's a really low startup cost. You're looking at $350 at a minimum to take your training courses, and depending on what state you're in, you might even be able to get, help with payment of some of this through like government grants or anything. The minimum of 45 hours of training to get certified as a daycare provider in the home. And they do allow you to have up to 8 kids in your home, depending on the square footage. Okay. And right now, a lot has changed between when my mom started her daycare in the basement of my townhouse till now. I mean, there's higher demand. It costs a lot more money. You're looking at $1,500 to over $2,000 a month per child per month for daycare, especially if you live in any of the metropolitan cities. All right. So this is a really great one, especially for those moms who are at home, just had a baby, or have young kids and can't really want something to do inside the house. Well, hey, you're already taking care of your kids. Just add a couple more, add 3 more to those, and take care of those, and do daycare in your home. Typically, if you've got, I would say 320 square feet, you really can fit 8. I mean, they require that you have 35 square feet per child. So this is a really great one to start, especially if you're a mom at home and you want some additional income coming in. The cons of this particular business is, it does require dedicated attention. It's not one of those things where you could just, do and kind of do something else on the side while you're attending to this. You can't do that. You're talking about people's kids. So you really do need to pay 100% attention to those kids so they don't get you in trouble and you don't get yourself in trouble. And the other con, I would say, just from experience, is those smelly diapers. And those are things that I still have to deal with my toddlers. Okay. So anyway, this is a good one to go ahead and look into. You're really looking at 6 to 7 figures in the family daycare business, and you can scale up. If you really like it and you have a passion for it, you can really actually even, scale up to eventually having a daycare center. So if you have a home or you have an apartment, this is something you can definitely do. This business I want to share with you is group homes for seniors. This type of business is also known as assisted living for seniors. So, with the change in demographics, I mean, in the US, we basically, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 1 in 5 Americans are going to be 65 or older by the year 2030. So, we are really looking at 65 million or thereabout Americans who are going to be seniors. And as you age, there's definitely a demand for healthcare. You definitely need someone to take care of you. A lot of people are going to need places to put their loved ones, to take care of them. And I would say that this is definitely a good investment. This is a great business to start. A lot of assisted living homes, some of you may be aware of, they seem to be like apartment style or commercial looking, but there are a lot of people who are starting group homes in their homes that they actually own. So one of the things in terms of bringing down the cost to start a group home, if you already have a home, you can get it rezoned for a group home to use it as an assisted living facility. You can do some internal alterations, and all that can help lower the cost as opposed to going out there and looking for, these huge commercial looking assisted living complexes. And also, some of the pros for this business is that there are some government subsidies available from the state. Home for seniors is another great one. Some of the cons of this business is your homeowners association or condo association, any type of community association, they tend to resist group homes or assisted living facilities in their neighborhood just because they don't like how it looks, or they just a little biased to what it may mean for their community. But really, these group homes, as people start to age, people are going to recognize that even HOAs are going to recognize that they even need it. As we all age, we are going to need someone to take care of us as we age, depending on our health condition. Another thing I consider a con for this business is end of life monitoring. Because you're dealing with an elderly population, you do need to think about, how you're going to monitor them. If you're one of the people that feel uneasy with death, or putting seniors in the hospice care, which is the natural progression after leaving your group home, this is one of the things that you're going to have to grapple with. You're talking about elderly individuals, they will pass on at some point. And this is definitely I think the part of the business where if you're going to get into, you will need to get comfortable with. Okay. All right, so this is a great business to start. And again, the startup cost for this, I would say the startup cost as well here is minimal. You could definitely start with $1,000 for this, in terms of just making sure that you have the beds and then your the beds, which are typically like twin size beds. Very rarely do you see queen size or king size beds for seniors, but twin size bed or full size bed is just okay for seniors. So you're really looking at under $1,000. I would say the big area where you would spend more time is really in the paperwork and the filing of the various requirements. It's not hard. It's just paperwork, and it just takes some time and dedication to it to get it up and running. The next business I'd like to share with you is real estate investments. These are rental properties. So this is another great business to do. I'm talking about, buying properties and putting them up for rent, especially with where mortgage rates are going, and especially with where the economy has been. There's been talk as whether we're in a recession or about to get into a recession. Real estate investments and rental properties specifically is a great business to start in. Just think about it. If you buy a property, it appreciates for the most part. Properties appreciate while renters will pay down your mortgage for you. And the average rental nets $450 to $500 a month. So that's profit that you can put in your pocket. And if you're doing short-term rentals like with Airbnb, you can even net even more on a monthly basis. Me personally, I like long-term property rentals. I just love it. The big part, the con is just dealing with bad renters. If they mess up your property, then you're going to need to fix it, and you can spend thousands of dollars fixing up your property if you don't get the right person in there. So I would say just spend more time up front. screening through renters, and make sure you have a really good renter in there. And I'm telling you, this is a cash cow. Real estate investments is a really good one to get into. And there's so many opportunities. I have to do a whole video on, how to buy real estate, how to buy real estate, period. Because just going to the bank and getting a mortgage is not the only way to buy real estate. There's so many options out there to get rental properties and to begin renting them. So this is another good business that you can start. And another thing I'll just throw in there is if you already have a home, you have a spare bedroom or something, or a spare room in the basement, this might be an opportunity that you also may want to look into is renting that basement to someone or putting up that basement, use it. Another idea may be to use it as a storage. You can put your storage space up for rent. Okay. The next business opportunity is the content writer, copywriter opportunity. This business is awesome. This business has been around for a while, but there's a high demand for people to write content. These companies want to run their businesses. They don't want to spend time writing, and you do need to put like persuasive copy up on your website. You need to market for it and you need to be persuasive with it. I mean, there's so many things here that a content writer or copywriter could do. And also with software as a service, they are constantly looking for someone to write about their new products. So there's a high demand for content writers and copywriters and editors and communication specialists. They're all in the same genre, I would say. So, applying directly to these companies will land you better pay. You're looking at anywhere from $30 to $90 an hour, depending on the industry and experience. If you don't know what companies to go to, you can just do a search. Do a search in any of these job boards, remote.co, LinkedIn. There's so many job boards. You just do a Google search even and just search for content writer, copywriter, editor, tech writer, something like that. You could do a search on that. I will say that other platforms to go to look for your work for your business to start this business will be on Upwork or Fiverr. But I will just say, give you a caveat here is that Upwork and Fiverr, since it's open to the global market, you're definitely competing with resources from other countries, countries in Africa and countries in the Philippines, Asia, all these countries. And when you look at exchange rates, they're willing to take a lower hourly rate than those of us in America. You up on Upwork, for instance, for a content writer, they might be asking that you take like $5 or $10 an hour. And you and I both know that that is not enough to feed you, and definitely it doesn't compensate for the time that you spend. So you definitely want to go after companies in the US if you're living in the US, and shoot for that top dollar. Once you identify who those companies are, you can go directly to them and start writing copy for them or content for them. So this is another great business. It's in high demand right now. The companies all over, small and large, are looking for content writers, tech writers, copywriters, editors, communication specialists, etc. So this is a great one. And the final business I wanted to share with you is the e-commerce store business. And this is something that you would put up on your personal website or on Etsy or Shopify. The beauty of platforms like Etsy and Shopify is that they already have a following there. The pros for starting an e-commerce store is that's easy and it's a low startup cost. And there's so many opportunities right now where you can start a shop without handling any of the inventory. All you got to do is just take pictures, put them up there, put keywords up there, and just wait for the traffic to flow, right? The key is that you want to sell high in demand products, especially with the holidays coming. You probably want to sit down and just think about products that people would need for the holidays, frames and mugs and those types of things. And also another area to think about too is, it's just the service side of an e-commerce store. There's a huge need right now for education. A lot of people are starting up YouTube channels, social media pages, and they need to know how to use these things as well. So there's a huge need for education. I talked about content writing earlier. The people who want to learn how to be a copywriter, and they need knowledge. And I would say, like, even the minimum education course out there, anyone that's out there, marketing or trying to sell their education course on YouTube or any of the platforms on Facebook, they're charging $2,000 at a minimum. And some of them are even charging more, all the way up to 6,000, 10 grand, depending on what it is. So imagine selling those courses to 100, 1,000, a million people. I mean, there is money to be made in this area. Okay. The cons about an e-commerce store, and I'm really just kind of just really just perusing over this. I would have to do a separate video on the various types of e-commerce stores that you could get into. I mean, you have drop shipping, you have private label. I mean, you have Amazon FBA, which I'm not a big fan of. You have print on demand. I mean, one of the things I just want to say in terms of a con is that when you look at print on demand and using companies like Printify or Printful, those companies are these. This is a great way to start an e-commerce store to just get your feet wet. But what you'll learn really quickly is that there's a really laser thin margin. So while you'll make a profit, it's not as much as you could potentially make. But if you want to just, stay out of it and just kind of focus on just learning the e-commerce route and let somebody else do all the heavy lifting, the operational side of this, doing the inventory, the packing and the shipping for you, then print on demand is definitely a great way to get started. And opening an Etsy store or Shopify store is a great way to get started to just get your feet wet. So that's all I have for you, folks. These are 5 businesses you can start right now, today. Remember, $15 an hour, $20 an hour ain't gonna cut it. So let's start these businesses today. Let's be creators, not just consumers.